first of all apologize on behalf of the faculty for the late start of this symposium. We were supposed to start at 2, and we didn't come here until 3. Now it is almost 4. This is really unacceptable. Because being a lawyer, the first thing you should learn is timekeeping. Timekeeping is important. Now, coming back to Mr. Kabatsi, Senior Counsel, he is a well-known figure in Ugandan law circles. He has been a state attorney. He has been a director of public prosecutions. He has been Solicitor General. And as DPP, he was in charge of all criminal prosecutions in the country. And as Solicitor General, he was in charge of all the laws drafted in Uganda during his period, 1990 to 2002. So he is a legal luminary. And we are very happy to have him here to talk to us on the topic which you have already heard. And it is my honor and pleasure to invite Mr. Kabatsi to come and deliver his lecture. Thank you very much. Mr. Kabatsi, please.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you very much. University administration members, faculty of law members, and dear students of law. I'm assuming that you are all law students. It is my pleasure to have a conversation with you this afternoon, so we may discuss a few things I know and a few things I believe in, which I think are useful to me as a lawyer and hopefully to the profession. You have started a journey as lawyers, students of law, and you remain students of law. For many of you who will continue to practice law as long as I have, until the end of your days. So you are in for a long haul of study of the subject generally called law. Let me encourage you. It's not a difficult task. Anyone who has passed O levels and A levels and is disciplined enough and is prepared to study, not only make it as a lawyer, but also as a good lawyer. What am I saying? I'm saying that you don't need to be a genius to be a lawyer or even a lawyer. Oh, I think as you sit here, have what it takes to make a good lawyer in your head. Your brain contents are good enough. What will make the difference? That facility be given to you by God. So it's not a difficult lawyer, be a good lawyer. So some people may decide to do other things in your profession. You probably will. Some of you will. Politicians, professors like the dean here. Maybe you join the church. Find tools and the skills you have acquired as a law student, very useful. Now let me come back to the topic that you chose to give me to discuss with you. Ethics and professional responsibility in the post-COVID-19 era. That makes the last bit of this topic makes the matter narrower. And so, tell you everything about the law, I want to discuss the responsibility, the ethical responsibility relating to the period we are in now and maybe after. Let me say, first of all, before I get into it, a bit about myself. Very ordinary person, very ordinary lawyer, many years a student like you, but now I'm a legal practitioner with the Kampala Associated Advocates. The law firm based in Kampala. We are 28 lawyers in that law firm. 11 of us are partners. And 4 of those 11 are senior or old like me. The other 7 are young, little older than you, but very young. So we combine at Kampala Associated Advocates the energies of youth and care and wisdom of experience. And that combination, we think, helps our clients solve their better. But as you have heard, I had the opportunity to work as a public lawyer, state attorney, DPP, Solicitor General, years back. I also had opportunity to work for the United Nations as a law commissioner in the International Law Commission. In Geneva, and was able to be elected president of that commission. So that's years back. I worked for many governments in Uganda. I actually entered the public service when Amin was getting off, and all those governments up till now. So I know how governments work. they have their differences, one from the other, but there is a lot that they share in common. I also worked in South Africa, both as a public lawyer, because I was in charge of prosecutions in the Kingdom of Lesotho for 5 years, and also practiced as a private practitioner there for 2 years before coming back to Uganda. I'm telling you these things not to brag what I've been doing about the law, but so that you understand that there is nothing spectacular about being a lawyer, provided you are disciplined enough and you work hard. So here in front of me, I see 200, 250 very good lawyers sitting in front of me. Now, ethics. Can hardly read that. I think I ignore that. But if you can look at it, that's okay. We should first do yes and define what ethics is all about. Ethics are moral principles that govern a person's behavior in conducting an activity so that is well and respectably done. Scholars, I can't pretend to be an academic, various scholars have defined professional responsibility to mean a set of duties which the concept of professional ethics for those within the concept of professional ethics, for those who exercise a unique set of knowledge and skills as a profession. As have theirs, the clergy theirs, we lawyers have ours also. So that people know what lawyers do and that what they do it responsibly and well, the satisfaction of their clients. As you know, the legal profession has for the longest time referred to itself as a noble profession. Nobility. What does nobility mean? Nobility means simply avoiding deliberate wrong behavior or wrong acts and promoting respectable and dependable behavior for the people who are served by that particular profession. So we call ourselves a noble profession because we are supposed to do our job, first of all, competently, but also dependably. It is important that a profession like ours is respected. It's respected because of what society expected us to do. To help in punishing the wrongdoers and also to help resolve disputes justly among people. It's a very old profession. It was there, I think, even before Christ and Muhammad, and it will be there. I suspect as long as this world is where it is, and it does what it does. Without the law, it's impossible to imagine how society would conduct itself. By nature, human beings have an element of selfishness. They want to cut corners. They want to obtain and get advantage over the others unjustly or unfairly. This is where this comes in. And in the nature of things, that will remain so for as long, I think, as we are on this earth. Now, this nobility I'm talking about has rules put together as a code. Now, these rules and principles in the profession are set out, in our case, laws that are well known. We have a set of laws that together regulate our conduct as advocates. And there is a penalty, or there are penalties for any errant lawyer or advocate that transgresses these regulatory rules set to govern our conduct of the profession. I'm sure you all know we have an Advocates Act, and we have rules under that act. The rules guide how advocates, while conducting their duties, should behave. That includes how they charge clients for the services, and how and why they have to be very careful that they only keep what is theirs, the rest belongs to their clients. I think this afternoon you've just been told about the 39 billion lawyer thief, assuming that is true. If that is so, that is serious. That is shameful. Before I move on further, let me tell you that the profession you choose to do for the rest of your life should be a profession you like, so that you are able not only to enjoy the benefits of conducting yourself as a lawyer, but you should enjoy doing it. think it is General Tumine who said, he was talking about the army, that he liked what he was doing, and that was more important than anything else. Money, I think somebody mentioned something about money. Money should only be a consequence of the exercise of your profession, not the objective. Lawyers are well paid, actually, very well paid. There is absolutely no reason, no need to cut corners. There is a lot of competition in the profession, and there is enough for everyone. There is enough for everyone. There will always be enough for everyone. When I started practicing law, we were 14 million Ugandans, and very few lawyers. We are now getting towards 50 million. We need a lot more lawyers. There will always be work, especially for anyone who calls himself a lawyer and is doing the job nobly and according to the ethics. The general ethical consideration have been discussed by a number of people, or scholars. Written quite a lot about it. Professor Kasozi, did he teach here? Huh? He's written quite a lot about this topic in his handbook. He wrote this handbook, or put it together with others. Brian Benson, Pamela Tibichira, Kadyagira. I don't want to discuss what is in their book. It's available for you. You can look at it. This is a very useful book. James Ogora, I think, was our principal judge one time. Discussed ethics as the heart and soul of the legal profession. Now, I agree with all these ethical code of conduct views, and I agree with especially Justice Ogora that underlying the practice of law is ethical behavior. So it's not enough to get your degree from here and LDC, and open your law firm, High Street here, Kabatsi and Kampala Advocates. That's not enough. Standing out really as a lawyer is about 50% of the entire house of legal practice. Now, so why COVID-19? Because this is your topic. The practice of law. COVID-19 has changed a lot of the way we practice law. Actually, very dramatically. I think, generally speaking, for the better. For the better. This is because what happened when COVID attacked the world, the Uganda and us in particular. Number one, we're not able to reach our clients as before because we had to keep distances to avoid infection. Movements were restricted and interactions among human beings was restricted. Before, we're used to having clients sitting across the table and breathing into each other's face. During COVID, that stopped. But the need for legal services actually did not stop. So ways had to be found for the clients and their lawyers to be able to communicate. During this period of COVID, there were no enrollments of young lawyers because most offices were closed. So many young lawyers had to wait 2 years before enrollment. Now that created a gap in profession. That profession was denied renewal, new blood. It's not easy to bridge that gap. We were not, and during this period, we couldn't go to court and represent clients as before. Courts, in fact, were closed. So we had to use other means. Thanks to the advent of digital life that came in and helped. But digital life denied confidentiality between client and lawyer, and even creation of confidence. You know, you need to talk to a person who's listening to your problem face to face. But if everything is paperwork, there is a problem. So, other means have to be found out to deal with this pandemic. So that lawyers can solve people's legal problems. We are now getting used to it. And I think this is the main part of your subject. Now, returning to ethics, it's all very well saying, look, be ethical, be noble, behave well, and so on. That's good, but we need to be clear. What or in what way do we ensure that we are noble, we are professional? The best way is avoiding the obvious and known pitfalls advocates meet in the practice of the law. Doing things which they are prohibited from doing, behavior which is prohibited. Number one, we lawyers can only act for clients. We don't act for ourselves. That means we must have instructions. No lawyer should represent anyone without instructions to do so. It's prohibited by the law. There are a lot of preliminary objections in court. I've seen many over the many years I've practiced, where lawyers are accused of not having instructions. And if that is demonstrated in court, then the lawyer is thrown out. And that's not comfortable. So please act with instructions or on instructions. I'm not a teacher, but I like referring to cases because you are a student. There is a case called Okodoi and another versus Okelo. That is a case where a lawyer was condemned to pay the cost personally because he had no instructions. I don't know whether I should go into the rigmarole of citation, but it's a well-known case. There are areas of abuse in the profession. Basically, it means you are doing what the rules prohibit. There are quite a number. Overcharging is one of them. Even undercharging. Trying out to compete your colleagues is prohibited by the law. Then there are people who hold out. I don't know whether you know. There are people who claim they are lawyers when they are not, and even represent clients. That is prohibited. These people usually deceive the general public, dress like lawyers, use illegal expressions, and end up practicing law illegally. This is not allowed by the law. And even when you are a lawyer, enrolled and all that, but you haven't taken out a practicing certificate, you should not hold out practice law on behalf of anybody else. Then is the question of confidentiality. I think this is where nobility of the profession is utmost in terms of importance. Confidentiality. Clients tell us a lot of things they will not want anyone else to know about their money, about their status, and the law protects them. The communication between an advocate and the client is protected by the law. You should never disclose it. In fact, you shouldn't even disclose it to colleagues unless if it is absolutely important. In a law firm like KA, we are over 20. But clients come maybe to see Jane. Look at Jane, not Peter Kabatsi. Jane should not unnecessarily break that confidentiality merely because we are practicing together. Unless if it is for assistance. Conflict of interest. Lawyers are supposed to be independent in their minds. If you have any information or prospective benefit about an individual, you should not represent a client against that individual or even for him. Conflict of interest can kill a case. Some of you may have had a case of Bank of Uganda and the Sudiri Pararia. I had the responsibility of heading the team that represented one of those two parties. And a problem arose because one set of lawyers for one or the other of the two parties had actually been acting for the opposite party in previous cases, and so knew a lot about that particular party. It became contentious, and we successfully threw out that set of lawyers out of that case. And that had a negative impact on the clients represented by those lawyers, because they had to look for new lawyers, go over the pleadings again, over the evidence. It can be quite problematic because, especially in public bodies, people come and go. So the person who gave you the instructions or who knew a particular or a set of facts is no longer even available. And if you have to start the case all over, you may prejudice your client. So conflict of interest, please, if you have an interest in the matter, keep off. The other behavior you should avoid is easily thinking, easily getting into the case and becomes your case instead of a case of your client. Don't get emotional about it. Don't personally get involved in it. Your duty is to assist the court, come to a just conclusion by addressing the facts and the law. Your client may not succeed. That's the nature of the profession. May even be hanged. But if you are going to be miserable because your client has been hit hard, how are you going to practice? That will happen every other day. You'll be a very miserable person. So please don't get engrossed in your client's case. Yes, you should put all your efforts in it, but it's not your case. You're only a representative. Should I say anything about overcharging? The rules prohibit it. That's all I can say. Don't overcharge. Don't overcharge because the client doesn't know. There is almost no benefit. In fact, there is danger only in trying to get an extra quid unfairly. You'll get enough money if you do things properly. Please don't overcharge. Now, what has happened after COVID? We are now filing cases without going to the courts. We use the ECMIS digital system. You know that many applications, even for universities like this, entry, you do it online. Many things are online. Even at the company's registrar general, it's online. So the interface with institutions is getting less and less. You are using the online for everything. What does this mean? This means you have to be very proficient in using these new systems. Because we are not going to go back. It's going to get better and better, or worse and worse. I remember years back going to Canada to attend court proceedings there. And I didn't see books in the courthouse. I saw laptops and computers. The lawyers for both parties and the judge were discussing, even decided cases, cited legislation on laptop. It was amazing. I thought that was for Europeans in Canada and so on. It's here. It's here now. It's here. So you better perfect your in the use of tools. Do that, you'll be left behind. These are the challenges of post-COVID era. Maybe that was a good thing, because now market tricks which were played between clerks and some lawyers even filing cases over others and so on, even paying for it, that is dying out because everything is online. So, welcome to the digital world. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's all I needed to talk to you. I had to be general because I was told it would be like 30 minutes. How do we get into the details of all of these things within 30 minutes? So I have been deliberately skipping over details, but I'm happy to answer questions because I know a lot of these things. I've been at it for a long time. I've been a lawyer since most of you, I think all of you in fact, were not even born. So I know very well that law students are eager to know this and that, this detail and that detail. But I'm happy to react to any questions or comments you might wish to give. I think I've covered the practice in many ways. Even as a teacher, professor, I taught at LDC years back. As a legal practitioner, I have been a judge on the Permanent Court of Arbitrations at The Hague, actually up to now. So I know all the, I've sat on different sides of the table. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And let me congratulate you for having picked on a really good profession. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, our guest speaker this afternoon. Yes, we are going to entertain questions, but we can have an interval of 3, and then we can allow our guest speaker to answer as we continue to have more. So, where is the speaker? The speaker, please, will help me carry the mic. We'll have 3, then allow the guest speaker answer, and then take another 3, if at all there are more. As we get the questions, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, recognize the presence of the representative from the U.S. office. And yes, Ruth Kamgambi is here from the U.S. office. Thank you very much. And as we started, ladies and gentlemen, we started without the Vice Chancellor. But finally, as we progressed, we've been blessed to have CP Mzora representing the Vice Chancellor, who was able to join us, and he will be speaking to us after the Q session. Please, let's have the question 3 at a go, and then we'll allow the speaker to answer, and then we'll be back. Right? Let's have the question.
Thank you so much, Master of Ceremonies. The guest of honor this afternoon and everyone here present. My name is Edson Tumwine. I'm a 4th-year student at this faculty. I want to, first of all, thank the university for availing us this opportunity to drink from your cup, dear guest of honor, having been a practitioner and a host of a great experience. But also to the university, I hope they realize that at this faculty we need a more spacious place than this. Going to my question, 2 quick questions. One, from the very last thing you mentioned about your service, being the ad hoc judge, the permanent arbitration, the national arbitration, what would you say is the future of arbitration in this country? Is it an area where you think students should interest themselves in? Number 2, from 1986, when you served as DPP and subsequently for 12 years as Solicitor General, and then before you headed to private practice, you've been at, even up to now, you've been at the top of the game in this profession. What are the rules of engagement? What has made you keep at the top of this game for this number of years? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My name is Bwenje Deosdedit. Bwenje Deosdedit. I'm here. Yes, Bwenje Deosdedit. I'm not a student. I'm an alumnus of this institution. I'm actually one of the. I'm here. I'm actually one of the pioneer students of this institution. Right away from the 1st of September 2014 to the 3rd of October 2018. And I'm an advocate of the courts of judicature. But I can also appear in an LC1 court. As long as I, yes, I am allowed only as regards, only if a case involves a child or involves an infringement of a bylaw, under Regulation 23 of the Local Council Regulations of 2017. So those are the 2 exceptions under which I can appear there. Your Honor, I am one of those people who have read your submissions in cases like William Okecho versus George Orr, David Chan Jamwa versus Attorney General, which was just recently decided on the 27th of June of this year. And submissions of people like you, especially from top law firms like KAA, which have always made it among the top 5 law firms in the country every year. Although I don't know how that assessment is done by the Uganda Law Society. But you have taught us that a good lawyer is a lawyer who knows where the law is, not who knows where the law, not who knows what the law is, but who knows where the law is. And people like us, young lawyers, have made it a point that we should read all the latest cases of the week, and we embrace the same of ourselves. And I want to thank you for that. And that is why, actually, for me personally, my best day is when I'm in court. And I think I owe it to people like you. That's just, of course, a point of compliment. But I just have a simple question. When we are applying for bail, we are always frustrated by the state, by the DPP. And you have, of course, told us that you were once a DPP. And the state comes up with a very flimsy excuse that there's no police file. So how would you advise such a state attorney? Or is what the state attorney is saying professional? Does that also amount to professional misconduct of a state attorney? Because who should know where the police file is if it is not the state attorney? Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. My name is Westige Panyaji. My simple question. Westige is my name. Westige. Westige, trust in the Luganda version of trust. Yes, thank you. My little question to you, our guest speaker, is you practiced law for over the years, and perhaps you know about our curriculum, our legal education currently. What aspect do you think should be incorporated in our legal education that is missing as per now that you think is very important for legal practice? Thank you.
Let's allow the speaker answer the 3, and then we can have another set, right? Okay.
Mr. Wesige, I start with you. Because this is, you are giving me a tough task. What is missing in your curriculum? You expect me to know that and answer that question? I'm not even a teacher of law. Huh? What I can say, at least in this room, and I should have introduced her, I came with one of the alumni of this university, Leona. Leona has been clerking with us, clerkship student. Today is her last day as a clerkship student. Now, she's from this university. I know very little about the teaching of the law here. But I found her extremely knowledgeable. That instructs me that, Professor, you are doing a very good job here. Huh? Now, but back to your question, what is missing? I'm sure many things are missing. You only have 4 years here. I think it's impossible to teach everything within those 4 years. As I told you, you've just started on a journey as a law student, and you will die as a law student. So I'm not able really to tell you what ought to be taught here and is missing out. But my colleague here has whispered to me that it seems to me or to him that, Professor, you have to emphasize the teaching of digital life. Digital life. I don't know how much of it, legal, digital life, you are learning here, including AI, artificial intelligence. It is, if you are not being taught that, Professor, think about it. But, sir, I'm not able to tell you what ought to be taught and is missing out now here. I'm not in a position to do that. Bwenje. Yes, as a student of law now and forever, it's important to know where to find the law. Not have a legal computer in your head and know everything. But also what it means, if you are looking for anything, you must know how to find it. So you must know it is there. And to know it is there, it means you must read. Read the statutes and the regulations and keep abreast all the time on it. Read the decided cases. Only then will you be able to find out where what you are looking for is. You also talked about bail. Yes, I was a DPP. I was a state attorney. Bail is a constitutional right. But the Constitution recognizes that it's not a right after all. There's a logical conflict in the Constitution. It says we are all innocent until proved guilty. Well, then why are you remanded? The reason is simple. Society must be protected from wrongdoers, and justice must be done. What it means is that you may or may not be innocent, but because you are a suspect, the law protects society. So it's not automatic. Even where the law says after 6 months, I think, 3 months, 6 months, you can get automatic bail. It's not as automatic as you think it is. Because if it was, how would you get the criminals? How would you get them? They would ravage society. So you have to protect society. The law, it's actually the law which does it. It's the Constitution itself which says you are innocent, but you can be locked up for 6 months before proof of guilt. Now, yes, state attorneys say they don't have police files or the police is still investigating. It's not a perfect system, I know. And I think it's not perfect anywhere in the world, but it can be made better. I think DPPs, that's when I used to tell the policemen, please don't arrest people until you yourself are convinced a crime has been committed by that individual. At least you, policeman or policewoman, you have some evidence to show this person is guilty. But between that and what is done in practice is what you are complaining about, Mr. Bwenje. It can be made better, can be made better. Bail is a right, but there are conditions. It's not automatic, actually. It's not as automatic as many people think. The more serious the charges, the more careful the system is to deal with suspects. That's universal. If there is evidence, you will not be able to appear in court. You get locked up. Just as simple as that. Tumwine, Mr. Tumwine, arbitration. Yes, arbitration is an alternative way of resolving disputes, civil disputes, and it is encouraged quite a lot in many countries. We have a law here which provides for it. Actually, I'm supposed to be the chairman of the system itself, myself. It's not well developed in Uganda, but over time, Mr. Tumwine, it will develop. It's a cheaper way, and a quicker way of resolving disputes. But we still have a lot of problems with arbitration. You know, Ugandans are not terribly trustworthy, even when they are professionals. A lot of them. Now, an arbitrator is not a regulated person. It's not like a judge or a magistrate. You give an arbitrator $500 million shilling case. And maybe that's the only case you ever handle. All sorts of things happen, and I've seen them. I'm a little reticent. I'm a little slow myself when we are drawing contracts to advise some of my clients to make arbitration mandatory. Because it's difficult to appeal. You can't appeal. The individual concerned may not even be a professional, has nothing to protect. And sometimes it's very expensive. Very, very expensive. A courthouse is free to use. But an arbitrator will hire an office for which the client will have to pay. No one pays the transport for a judge, but an arbitrator will have to pay. No one pays hotel bills for a judge. Arbitrator, you have to pay. It can be quite expensive. But as we develop our profession more and more, and people become more and more trustworthy, it is otherwise a good, quick way of resolving disputes. It's an ADR, alternative dispute resolution mechanism. But you have to be very careful about it. Rules of engagement. Mr. Tumwine. What do you want me to say? Other than what I've already said, that whatever you do it right. Do it right and competently. The rules are there. They are there. They regulate the way we practice our profession. But rules of engagement, please do right and do it well. That's all you need to do. Thank you.
Thank you, our guest. I think we are going to receive other questions as we proceed.
Thank you, our guest speaker. My name is Navasa David, a fourth-year student here. And my question is, David Nawasa, I'm more interested in international law, and my question is, I've seen that you once reviewed the case of Rockabye case, the bombing of the American airplane in 1988, and thank you for your review. And then you told us that you once became the president of the International Law Council. So my question is, Commission, my question is, most of these cases at the international level, they mostly include the superpowers, those that are members of the Security Council. So I'm wondering how the delegates from Africa, you handle those cases without conflicting with those superpowers, because you never know, one day I can hit a jackpot and become a member of the ICJ or ICC. So I want to know how you delegates from Africa handle those cases where those superpower countries are involved without conflicting with them. Or when you reach there, you also make decisions that please those superpowers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Monzera Crispus. I'm a second year student here. Monzera Crispus. I'll quote two people and I'll ask you to give in a few comments. One of them is a seasoned lawyer who was talking to a group of youth. He said, before you choose which profession to join, you should always interest yourself in knowing the professional ethics. If they do not resonate with your personal ethics, don't go there. This also was a parent talking to his son, and this son had just graduated from a prestigious law school. And he said, son, congratulations. But look, you either subscribe to the values of your family or you risk being neglected by the family in your legal practice. If we say our values, you should never represent a thief, the presumption of innocence is treated with jeopardy. If the father hears as you're somewhere in court, your client is certainly suspected to have done something, then you continue chasing that, then he's no longer with you, because we always want support from the family. Now, this is to say there is always nasty accidents taking place as a result of head-on collisions between personal ethics and professional ethics. This is what you believe in as a person, which is actually not bad, but this is what the scripted professional ethics say. At that time, what takes precedence over the other? Thank you.
So much, facilitator and guest speaker. Good afternoon, everyone. Sigeri Adonia is my name, and I'm a fourth-year law student here at Bishop Stuart University Law School. My question is on case backlog in Uganda. The fact that you've served for more than, I can say, 30 years in the profession, and personally, I regard three aspects that make a human being. One, it is the hospital, which is in charge of the health system of an individual. Two, we have, I can say, the law, which governs our daily being. And thirdly, maybe the church as far as morality is concerned. But they tell you before you are treated by a doctor, maybe you have to pay that money to look for the doctor or for the doctor to take charge of you. But look at the lawyers we have today in the legal profession, that As of today, we have 50,000 cases per the records in the case backlog. Whom do you put in charge of this? Don't you think that some lawyers or as a profession we do it as a maybe mandatorily, and we see cases escalating every other day? And what is the future of this in our profession? Thank you.
Thank you. I think let's give this one to...
Those are three?
Three questions.
Huh?
3 questions. I think you can answer those.
Mr. Nabasa, superpowers and international law. You know, international law only operates with the consent of states. Without the consent of states, it doesn't. Even ordinary states. So international law is a result of agreements by states to do or not to do certain things. Or it's a result of custom. Over centuries, states have generally agreed that there are such things as customary international law about the sea, about the air, about the land, about resources, and so on. Now, when it comes to cases, and you cited the Lockerbie case, yes, I was involved in the Lockerbie case. But actually, the Lockerbie case was a simple criminal case. It's basically a criminal case. These were murderers. Although the allegation is that some states were behind those murderers. So the states were not in court. Only the suspects were in court. So you could treat them more or less like you treat a thief in Mbarara. It's individual responsibility. So Lockerbie was about suspects who brought down that plane and killed people. So it was a question of looking at the facts and assigning criminal responsibility to the suspects or not. So Lockerbie is probably not a state matter. But you mentioned that certain superpowers can choose to ignore the law. Actually, you are right, they do. They do. Some superpowers sometimes choose to act unilaterally against international law, against treaties, and there is not much you can do about it. That's why we have wars. All wars, actually, among states are prohibited, but they are there every day. At in the international plane, it's impossible not to take it that might is right. Might is right. If you are a small state like Uganda, international law will come hard on you because it's very easy to enforce it on Uganda. But if it is some other country I don't want to mention, the five permanent Security Council members, generally speaking, they try to follow the law, but occasions arise where they choose not to, and even go to war. And they commit aggression, which is one of the worst crimes at international level. War, even war crimes. It's an imperfect world we live in, Mr. Navasa. Generally speaking, with the facility of the United Nations, states in the 20th and 21st century have tried their best for the law. That's why we have not had a third world war. It's the facility of the UN. How long that will be so, I don't know. Might, may not be right, but people with large muscles flex them. More or less the same as, remember in your village going to school as a small boy, the big boys pulling your ears and so on. They're not allowed to do that, but they did it. You couldn't even report it because you fear worse if you do that. Yes, superpowers are superpowers. Yes. But to be fair to them, by and large, they follow international law. By and large. Mr. Monzira. Values. Your family values. You know there's no conflict. There will be no conflict. I would want you to give me an example where a good family with values will find any problem with a lawyer who's acting ethically. The example you gave of a thief, representing a thief. Why did you say that? How do I know he's a thief? I'm not a witness. He tells me he's not a thief. So what do? We go to court and try him. If he's telling me lies and he ends up being convicted, that is his problem. Remember earlier on I said, please don't get involved personally in the affairs of your client. My client charged with treason and he tells me, no, I didn't do it. What does the law say? The law says whoever alleges it, let him prove it. I'll wait. I'll make it not so easy for him to prove it because the rules allow me to do so. But it's not my business to know whether you're a thief because you are charged. I know you are a thief when you are convicted. By competent court. So I don't know. I depend on instructions. If you tell me you are innocent of the crime charged, I believe you. I believe you. We go to trial. And there are rules that test whether you are or you are not. Rules of evidence. If it turns out that you are, that's your shauri. That's your business. I've done my bit. You go and face the law. So it's unlikely that a good ethical family values will conflict with the ethics of our profession. I can't think of any. I can't think of any. So if your father is a priest and he says, don't represent thieves, rapists and murderers, tell him, sir, I don't know. Those are allegations. That's all. That is all. He may indeed be a thief. We shall see at the end of the trial. Is that, are you happy with that response from me? your case. You don't know. If you know, please, you are conflicted. Don't get involved. You'll just be a witness.
All right. I know we can't have the many questions all brought forward and answered. In the interest of time, we are agreeable that we close it at this in terms of questions and answers. Otherwise, we'll spend nights here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I already introduced and recognize the presence of the representative of the Vice Chancellor, please allow me to welcome CP Mzora, who will make some remarks on behalf of the Vice Chancellor as we get in onto our program this evening. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. Our guest speaker this evening, the Dean Faculty of Law, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm CP Isaac Mzora, the University Finance Officer, but at this juncture, I'm the Vice Chancellor. Please accept my apology for coming late. I know it is unlawful, but as a finance officer, I had some issues I was settling in the bank that I could not have control over. I want to thank organizers of the symposium and inviting us to be part of it. And personally, I'm a tax consultant and actually do the same job as you. I represent taxpayers in URA whenever they use. And what I have been facing, and it is going good. I've been my clients' issues personally.
Sorry.
But ours are a bit funny. You know, issues that involve cash outflow. You can't take it lightly. It is not like you are you are innocent until proved guilty. Here URA is writing that you are assessed 1 billion. Trust me, a businessman cannot sleep when URA is telling him to bring 1 million. And now, as a taxpayer representative, I would equally share the problem, and I would have sleepless nights. But from today, Council Peter, I have learned a lot, and I'm going to change a bit. Yes, I'm talking of a bit because you can't change immediately. Otherwise, you risk the quality of the service. Such symposiums are good, and I don't know whether the organizers prepared some certificates for the attendees. Because for us accountants, whenever we attend such, they are called continuous professional developments. We are always awarded certificates, such that wherever you go after here, even those ones who were not present can easily know that Bwenje attended this symposium, and this was the topic that was discussed, and therefore he has authority over matters concerning such. Therefore, if that was not on the menu, next time please include it. Otherwise, I want to thank you for your attentiveness, and that tells the sensitivity of the matter that was being handled. Have a great evening.
All right, thank you, representative of the Vice Chancellor. Yes, the speaker, please. I am informed that there is some few details that you will take us on. Please let us run through them very fast as we did very fast.
Thank you, the Master of Ceremonies. I would love to invite Wesige Banyaji to step forward and give vote of thanks on behalf of the students as we conclude.
Our guest speaker, Senior Counsel Peter Kabatsi, the representative of the Vice Chancellor, our Dean, Faculty of Law here, the representative of the head of department, the faculty, our teachers and lecturers here. We have a librarian, our chief librarian is here. It's important that we recognize her. We have the representative of the Uganda Law Society. Thank you so much, Council Alan, for making it up here. The Guild President Emeritus, Mr. Sigida Adonia, thank you so much. And literally, ladies and gentlemen, all students here, thank you so much for making it here. My name is Wesige Banyaji. I'm a third-year law student, and I take the singular honor on my behalf and on behalf of the students to thank you, Senior Counsel Peter Kabatsi, for sparing time to fly the journey and come to talk to us. I'm very sure, as a lover of animals, of cows, you'd be on your farm, it's a weekend, and having a good time with your family, but sparing all these hours to come and be with us, the students, we don't take it very lightly. In the day of Uganda that it is, it's very emotional. We see what happens in parliament, in our society. Everything is very emotive. I think the take home for all of us is to separate the legal profession from the emotions in the cases that we have to deal with, and the discipline and the integrity that we must carry. Because this profession, as far as year one, first semester in our society is where we come from. We get problems. We get people telling us their problems, their land problems, their family problems, and all these things in year one. That's the nobility of the profession. So we must uphold this. And for a person like Senior Counsel Peter Kabatsi to come and talk to us, I don't know how much for consultants he could have been paid to come and really talk to us. It's immeasurable. The value is immense. Thank you so much, and I want to appreciate you very much. But importantly, I want to thank the president, the Uganda the Society President, Bishop Stewart University, and the entire team that have made this happen. We want to appreciate you so much. You've done us proud. May God bless you, our God reigns.
Another round of applause for Wesige. At this particular moment, I'm going to invite the Vice President and the President of Law Society to step forward. Allow the President also give some information to you.
The General Secretary can proceed to come. Good evening. We are so blessed to tap in the expertise of Senior Counsel Peter Kabatsi. I remember when I traveled to his home, we discussed at length. I was so timid as a junior law student to meet Senior Counsel Peter Kabatsi, and really it was a blessing that he honored to come to Bishop Stewart University. As a society, we have been, the course is not easy for us as students most of the times. We get issues along the way, tuition, and we want to thank God that among the students' body, we've managed as student leaders to support students throughout their journey of academia. One of the products from this campaign is now in year 4, and we've been contributing tuition to them through such campaigns. So when we heard that you are coming, we organized for you a portrait to see a student graduate, and we request for your support to see how best also we can have lawyers join the profession in the time to come. So we request you to come to step forward for a photo moment as we give you this portrait, and thanking you to allow to come to Bishop's Church University. Thank you very much. We hand this portrait to you, and we pray that you also see a student graduate. God bless you.
I'm humbled. Thank you. I don't know where you got this from. Some artist here. You went to town. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you very much, the Law Society team, for that wonderful job. I would love also to recognize the presence of Riona for representing us well at the KK Advocates. She has done a very great job there in also portraying the image of our university. Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting to the close of our function, and will allow me, of course, as the procedure so demands, will come our chaplain. Of course, we'll have a photo moment for the whole group. I hope the rain will allow us to have. But as we wait to have that moment for the photo, our chaplain, Reverend Mkundane, please, you may still return because you might not do so much with the rain. Please give us a prayer. Maybe again through the prayer, the rain will cease and we'll have the photo, but we can have a closing prayer. Thank you.
So we shall have a group photo outside here. So the rain is about to end, so don't mind. Let's have a word of prayer. Let's bow our heads down in prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given us to be together here to share knowledge. Because knowledge is power. We thank you for our guest speaker for this symposium, a senior counsel, a senior citizen. We thank you for all the members that have participated in this symposium. And we pray, Lord, that the knowledge that we have been given, use us, Lord, to utilize it. Guide us and make us your children. And may you, Lord, keep us in your goodness. We thank you, glorify your holy name.
And may the blessing of God Almighty, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit be with you, beloved, now and forevermore.
We'll wait for the weather to cease a little, and then we'll have the group photo from outside.